The Cleveland Browns are 7-3. Let that sink in. The Cleveland Browns are 7-3. They're in second place in the AFC North. They just passed up Baltimore because Baltimore lost to the Tennessee Titans. So Browns fans at 7-3 this late in the season, I gotta let y'all know, it just got real. This season just got real. Playoff expectations just got real. Every game just got real because the Browns are in this for real. So with that mindset being held, was today's win against the Philadelphia Eagles, was that worth getting excited for? Were there things in there to be concerned about? Well, let's talk about it. All right, real quick before I get into this video, I got to give a shout out to the Patreon Dog Check tier members who have been supporting Michael Matique, Greg Ealer, Seth Harrison, Corporal, Nick Lopez, Nick Nasty, Mandela Moore, the only Browns fan in Wisconsin, Batman, Jake Phillips, Rush Shear, Barack Kumar, John Alvord, Masayua, Buds of Roland, Ethan Rindauer, James Nemo, Mac House, Reeb Herbst, Justin Cole, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Timothy McClure, Keith Anderson, Joshua Still, Sean Barron, Goggles Pizzulo, Dom Gazzulo, Ian Whitaker, Colin 216, Anthony Latham, Christian, Matt Bond, Dave Strong, Michael Stone, Soul Train, Charles Work, Dan in West Texas, Billy, Michael Hodenack, Jared Austin, Patrick F. Austin Z, Mark Burnett, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, IT Rex, Austin Bolin, Jesus Serrano, Joshua Paulus, Chris Foams, the Picktown Browns backers, Mark Kahn, Max Al Dojo, Beerman 069, and CK. Thank you all for supporting via Patreon, and let me give you guys a victory dog check. So today's game was a great sign because while the offense wasn't explosive, I do have confidence that if the offense needs to find its rhythm later on in the season, they're going to be able to because of what they have in the running game and because I do think Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback. I know that might be a controversial opinion among some, but I do think Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback. I think you're going to see more and better things out of Jarvis Landry and Austin Hooper as the season goes on. There's just a lot of things to know that, hey, the Browns have things to rely on the offensive side of the ball, and they have guys who can step up or who should be able to step up later on in the season that just haven't had their turn yet. But the defensive side of the ball has been a huge concern, right? Because this defense, in order for the Browns to try to run or make any type of run this season, whether it be the wild card, division, or just playoffs in general, was going to have to be a whole lot better than they were the first 8 weeks of the season. And since they've gotten out of their bye week, they have been better. So let me start with the defense because what they showed today, the fact that they showed life without Myles Garrett is very significant. So let me talk about them. All right. First of all, we can't talk about the defense before we talk about Olivier Vernon because, man, this guy has taken a lot of criticism up until this week. I think he took a lot of criticism from me specifically. I've been extremely tough on Olivier Vernon, and I am so happy to see him step up. This was not just like a good Olivier Vernon game. I think it might have been like a close to a career type game for him. 3 sacks and a safety. That's a Myles Garrett stat line. Like only Myles Garrett at Texas A&M was putting up monster numbers like that. And I know it's tempting to think about, well, what would Myles have done if he was out there? The fact is Myles wasn't out there. He's out under protocol, so we don't know when we're going to get him back. But the fact is Olivier Vernon stepped up in a massive way. 3 sacks in the NFL game, I don't care who you're doing it against, is impressive. The fact of the matter is also that the Eagles had decent tackles. Jason Peters had been playing well before this game. Same thing goes for their right tackle, Lane Johnson. So these aren't scrubs out there for the Eagles offensive line. The rest of the defensive line I felt like played well. Sheldon Richardson didn't make a lot of noise, but he played pretty soundly in the inside. Larry Ogunjobi, again, much better inside run. That's all we need Larry Ogunjobi to be better at because he's good at a lot of things. If he's better in that area, he does plug a hole there. And I thought Porter Gustin and Adrian Claiborne did fine having to be out there with extended time because of Myles Garrett's absence. So all of those things, defensive line played well. Played phenomenally, quite honestly. Kept the Browns in this game. The Eagles, I do think they have a good offensive line, so I do think this is significant. I didn't necessarily even expect Myles Garrett to come in here against Philadelphia and have a 3-sack and a safety type of day. Like, I didn't expect that. The fact that Olivier Vernon did, it shows me, or at least it gives me hope, that if the rest of these guys, the supporting cast, can step up like that when Myles Garrett is on the field, then this defense is going to be much, much better. You know, the part of the reason we have to worry about Andrew Sedeo so much is because the ball is allowed to get to Andrew Sedeo so often. And what I mean by that is that teams aren't pressuring. Teams aren't forcing these quarterbacks' hands. Teams aren't forcing these quarterbacks to go underneath so they can hold the ball and wait till Andrew Sedeo is covering way too much space and exploit that. But if the front four can get pressure like they did today, plus Myles Garrett, it's really not going to matter who's playing safety. It's not going to matter who's back there if the front four can play like they did against Philly with Myles Garrett. It's really not going to matter who your safeties are, especially since your corners are so good. Terrence Mitchell, he had a good day today, but Denzel Ward, man, I need some respect to be put on Denzel Ward's name. I don't hear a lot about this nationally, but Denzel Ward's the best cornerback in football. I don't know of any defensive back who's better. If you know one, put it in the comment section, but it used to be Marlon Humphreys was better. Not anymore. No, sir. Not after what Marlon Humphreys had done to him by A.J. Brown today. So, no, it's not Marlon Humphreys. It's got to be Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward is the best corner in football, and he's been playing like it. He's been playing at a high level. He had somewhat of a down year, but Denzel Ward's down year would be like a good year for like a Terrence Mitchell or a Greedy Williams, but he had a down year in 2019 for him. And boy, did he come back with vengeance this year. He is much better than he was his rookie year. He has surpassed his rookie form. He has surpassed his Pro Bowl form. He's looking at all pro type level play here. I don't know if he's going to get it because his play doesn't have the numbers because people just don't test him. But Denzel Ward has been absolutely phenomenal all season. And today, he was phenomenal. It was puzzling to see Carson Wentz try Denzel Ward at the end of this game. That was puzzling to me that he tried that because Denzel Ward, very good defensive back, might be the best one in the NFL right now. So put some respect on Denzel's name, put some respect on a lot of people's names. The linebackers, they played okay. Mack Wilson is inconsistent, and he continues to be inconsistent, and that's starting to become a problem. But Taki, who got the pick six, by the way. The defense really did put up a lot of points for this defense in this game. So Taki played well. Malcolm Smith, he's been good all season. I think Malcolm Smith should get a contract extension like right now because the Browns are going to need a veteran linebacker that's not going to be too expensive. I think they should lock that one up. But Taki and Malcolm Smith have been great. And the biggest note, and the last thing I'm going to say about the defense is that they kept the Browns in this game. Not only did they keep the Browns in this game, they kept the Browns ahead. They made plays. They came through. And look, when the offense hasn't been going off the last few weeks because of the weather, the defense stepped up. That's what you want to see. And if these two units can click together at the end of this season, who knows where the Browns can go, right? If this defense can play well and then the offense can get back to putting up 30-plus points a game, who knows what this team can accomplish. The ceiling is the roof is a Michael Jordan quote. But that's honestly the truth. If those two units get together and start playing well at the right time, again, football is about getting hot. Well, NFL. The NFL is about getting hot at the right time, right? We talked about this with the Ravens in 2019 where I felt like they got too hot too early. And then when it came playoff time, they had the bye week, their heat was gone. The same thing could be said in reverse for the Tennessee Titans, who were hot late, not hot early, and then got going in the playoffs. Next thing you know, they're pushing in the AFC Championship game, almost about to make a Super Bowl appearance. So the Browns, if they can get these two units together, playing at a high level at the same time, they might have something. You know, it might be time to get really excited here in Cleveland because that would be a tough team to beat. So the defense, much better. I want to see it against a better offense. The real test is Tennessee, but you got to continue to pass these other tests. Next week is Jacksonville, so they have to continue to pass these tests going forward, but they definitely passed this one with flying colors. Best game this defense has had all year. So hats off to them. Hats off to Joe Woods. Shout out to Joe Woods. I was wondering if his job might be on the line during the bye week. He's came out after this bye week, and he's coached really well. So shout out to Joe Woods. Now, offensively, it wasn't as great of a game. Again, the defense seems to be hot right now. The offense is a little cold right now. They're not meeting yet, and I hope they do meet later on. Baker had some rare red zone misses. Now, there was weather. It was rain. I'm not going to give him that excuse this week because there wasn't wind. And the wind, that's a serious factor. The rain, there are ways around that. It wasn't that bad of a rainstorm. I don't know. It might have been worse at the stadium, but it just didn't seem like it was so bad that it was going to horribly affect the game. Now, granted, Carson Wentz did play terrible, so the rain might have had something to do with it. I don't know, but he had some rare red zone misses is my only point. But he did make some key third and long plays, and I got into this on a live stream on Sunday, but I want to get into it a little bit more here. Baker isn't going to make your eyes pop out when you look at his stat sheet right now or in this system, or at least at this point in this system. But when you see the plays that he's making, if you actually watch the games when it comes to Baker Mayfield, he's making all the big plays when he needs to. Third and long in his own end zone. Makes the pass, gets the play to Kadarius Hodge, goes on. Makes a big play down the sideline to get into field goal territory to Kadarius Hodge. Rashard Higgins had a couple of clutch third and long plays here. When Baker's back is against the wall, when the Browns need Baker to step up and get them something, he is more than capable of getting them. And these aren't in run-heavy situations where he's benefiting from them stacking the box. These are in situations where they know he's going to pass regardless. So it's 3rd and 14. It's 3rd and 10. So Baker, I think he's played well the last 3 weeks. And I think this was a good game for Baker. I wish he didn't miss in the red zone early in this game. But other than that, I think he played well. He's making the big plays when you need him. He's doing what he's asked to do. It's a good game out here. And if you look at his production versus the other quarterbacks that's come in here and played in these elements with them, he's actually had, I think, the better game most of the time. So Baker, and people are going to talk about, well, he hasn't thrown a touchdown. He hasn't gotten over 200 yards. I don't care about any of that. The Browns are winning, and he's doing his part to make these wins happen. He's not just sitting back there and the win is accumulating on him. He's making plays that are allowing these wins to happen in very key and very tough situations. So Baker Mayfield, I don't think he's going to get enough respect for this week's game, so I want to show him some love there. Chubb and Hunt got shut down for about 3 quarters, but again, here's what I talk about all the time with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. The reason they're so dangerous is because they just wear defenses down. It's much like Derrick Henry, right? When Derrick Henry gets in that 4th quarter, it's impossible to tackle him. It's impossible to stop him. You might have bottled him up all game, but in that 4th quarter, ain't nothing you could do about it. Well, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, it's so tough tackling these guys throughout the game, whether you're stopping them or not, that by the time you get to the 4th quarter, you're tired. You're exhausted. You can't take it anymore. And that's why Kevin Stefanski will run the ball relentlessly because he's setting that up. The Browns has a system here. If they can get a lead within the 4th quarter, and if they have that lead within 5 minutes of that 4th quarter, they're going to bring out Mariano Rivera, as Mike Keeley said on the live stream. They are going to bring out the closer, which is Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And they're going to run that thing down your throat, and they're going to say, what are you going to do about it? And so far, not a single team's been able to do a single thing in that situation when the Browns bring out the closers in the 4th quarter. So good stuff there from Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. At the end of the game, Kareem Hunt didn't have a great game, but Nick Chubb, he had a great couple of runs. So again, good game from them. You look for them to do better next week. The offensive line, I think people are going to say played awful. I didn't think they played awful. I just thought they didn't play good. Philly's a really good defensive line. We have to keep in mind that, right? Philly's a really good defensive line. They're PFF's #1 rated pass rush. So they were no joke coming into this game. I know there are some statistics saying that they're the worst run stopping team, but if you actually look into how that production has happened against the Eagles, there are a lot of long runs out of nowhere on that, but a consistent stream of stops. It's like with the Pittsburgh Steelers, where people are like, the Steelers can't stop the run because they gave up a ton of yards. But in reality, the Steelers were giving up chunk plays, but they weren't giving up the short plays. So same thing with the Eagles here. They were a good team coming into it. It was a nice battle, but the offensive line didn't implode, and they won the battles when they needed to. A good showing, not a dominant showing, but I didn't expect a dominant showing against this Eagles defensive line. Kadarius Hodge and Rashard Higgins, I felt like had great games. 3 receptions for Kadarius Hodge, 73 yards. Higgins, 3 receptions, 65 yards. Came up in the right moments, got those yards at big times here. But Kevin Stefanski, I also feel like, has to find a way to get the ball to Landry and Austin Hooper more often. Too often do we get into the flow of this game and we could just completely forget about Jarvis Landry. I think it was like in the third quarter where they threw the ball to Jarvis Landry. I was like, I legitimately forgot he was on the team for a hot second because he's so underutilized right now. And with Odell being out, you relying on Rashard Higgins and Kadarius Hodge, I think you need to find a way to lean a little bit more on guys who have been Pro Bowlers, who have been high-level receivers, and Austin Hooper and Jarvis Landry, because I think that would be a huge help for this offense. And again, going forward, once we get later on to the season, I hope to see that become a thing, because I think that will unlock this offense to get them moving at the same level they did at the beginning of the season. So good things from the Browns, young wide receivers, but I want to see more out of the veteran players in Jarvis Landry and Austin Hooper. And one quick note, Donovan Peoples-Jones, please, for the love of everything that is good, my guy, on these kick and punt returns, just make the safe call. Just make the safe call. This is not Josh Cribbs in 2005. This is not Michigan. Like, the Browns are not a sorry offense. We do not need you to risk the ball being fumbled just to kind of get 5 extra yards or 10 extra yards. They'll get that. Nick Chubb's good for the 10 yards. Just fair catch it. Let the ball drop. Stop making risky decisions with the football, because it's getting me nervous. And I know against a better team, it's going to bite you in the butt. He's had a couple of like, oh my goodness, that was almost a huge mistake with these punt returns. The one that I remember most vividly was the kick return where he touched the ball, let it bounce over him, and then ran back and tried to catch it at the 2-yard line so it didn't fall into the end zone. And almost, whatever the result was, I think it almost ended in a safety for the Cleveland Browns if he wasn't careful, or at least he got the ball stopped on the 2-yard line so it wasn't a touchback. Either way, it was really bad decision-making with the ball. So Donovan Peoples-Jones, I like you. I like your potential. Just please make the less aggressive decision on these kick returns, because quite frankly, we do not need you to be game changer. We just need you to catch these punts so we can hand this ball off to Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. And we can't hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb if you out here playing with the punts in the kick return situation. So please get that under control, please. But that's it for the offense. Now let me get my final thoughts. This is a good win. And there are a lot of great things to take away from this one. The defensive line stepping up without Myles Garrett. Your linebackers making plays. Your secondary showing up. Denzel Ward looking like the best corner in football today. Huge things. If this defense can play at this level and then the offense can get back to where they were at the beginning of the season, this team's going to go a lot of good places. Right now, they're 7-3. They're set up for a lot of success. They're going to play Jacksonville. They have to win that game. If I'm the Browns, I think every game until the end of the season, until somebody tells you, is a must-win game. So that's how they should treat it. But that's my thoughts. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.